This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day, God created man in the likeness of God, made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. Now, according to what we're looking at right here, we have God naming the male and the female, right? According to Genesis 5. He's naming the male and the female. And he is naming them what? What's their name? Adam. Now let's go to Genesis 2. Let me wait till Jeff. Okay, let me reiterate that again. I want to reiterate that again. In Genesis 5, 1 and 2, that God named the male and female, he named them what? Adam. Now, I want you to look, I'm getting ready to contrast some things right here. I'm getting ready for us to look at some things. Let's look at Genesis, the 2nd chapter. Genesis, the 2nd chapter, and verse 23. Genesis 2 and 23. I want us to look at this right here. Now, and Adam said, look at your neighbor and say, look at somebody and say, Adam said. Adam said. This is now what? Bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. But Genesis 5 says, God called their name Adam. Adam says, she is called woman. God says, Adam. Adam says, woman. God says, Adam. Adam says, woman. This was the birth of separation between the male and the female. This was the birth of separation right there. Because God acknowledged both the male and female as being Adam. And the name Adam means man. You found that? The name Adam means man. So, when was the female Adam created? When was the female Adam created? And where? They were created at the same time. Look at Genesis 1:26. The female Adam was created the same time as the male Adam, because what, Prophet Barrett? What was it? You said, we said something about that earlier. The female Adam was created at the same time because they were in what?
Inside of her. It was inside of Adam when he created them, in the spirit of God. Because they were in God's spirit, in God's thought. So she was already there.
She was already there.
When he said, let us make man, she was already there.
She was already there.
But he brought out the form in the male figure first.
Right.
Don't
look too fast now.
I was going to reiterate, but she was already there.
She was already there. But now check this out. Now look at Adam. Look at the male Adam. What does he do? God gives him authority to start naming stuff. Right? God gives authority to start naming things. And what happens? He starts to name gorilla, giraffe, lion, zebra, cow. He starts to name stuff, and lo and behold, this spirit of naming gets a hold of him when God says it's not good for man to be alone. And all this that's around him, there is not anything that can fit into his life. So it's not good for man to be alone. I'm going to make a help that can fit. And guess what he does? He starts to have that spirit of naming. So guess what? He takes upon himself to name the female. Says she shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. She came out of the womb of a man. So I'm gonna name her woman. But God named them Adam. There was no separation. In Genesis 1:26, the scripture says, in Genesis 1:26, it says, and God created what? And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And let us make man after our image and after our likeness, and let them. In other words, man was not singular, man was plural. Let them. Let them. Let them what? Let them have dominion. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Look at verse 27. So God created man. God created them in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female, that's the them. Y'all see that? So let them have dominion. It wasn't him to have dominion. It was them to have dominion. The both of them together was to have dominion. You see, what God did, God said, I'm going to create male and female. Okay, I'm going to create a positive projectile, and I'm going to create a negative receptor. That way, there is a fit. Automatically, you fit inside the oneness of the man. But when you come out, you can still come back and fit and come back to the oneness of the man, not being separate, but being one. Because the same authority that I released unto you is the same authority I released unto you. The beginning of separation was when man starts to separate himself from man. When man separates himself from man. Or when man separates himself from man. Or when man separates himself from man. Are y'all catching up? Y'all catching that right there? You see, some of us, once again, the domination of the male, and then there's the reaction of the female. I'm going to control because I don't want him to dominate. Look out now. Therefore, in my controlling or in my domination, guess what I'm doing? I'm doing the same thing that the male Adam did. I'm bringing a separation. Woo! And this, notice this. Check this out. This was before the fall of man. This was before the fall of man. After the fall of man, in Genesis 3, it seemed like Adam couldn't get his life straight. Because he first names a woman, then he turns around and names her Eve. After the fall. Y'all remember that? You shall be Eve, for you are the mother of all living. Wow. That's spiritually, according to what Genesis 5 saying, God named them Adam. That's why Paul comes on and says, there is neither male nor female. There is not these races and nationalities in God, for we all are one. So therefore, if God has named her Adam, who am I to name her Eve? If God says she's man, who am I to say you're a woman? God said you're male and female based upon the principle of adaptation. There's an adaptation to the earth. In other words, I need male and female to produce, what? To produce more men. More male men and more female men. So, me being human, or me being a human form, my male gender, and then the female gender, it allows it to produce more what? More men. Where we get in trouble, where we have get in trouble, is when we say it's a man's world. It is a man's world, but it's a man's world. It's a man's world. Therefore, it'll be a man's world. Guess what? Each one of us, as male and female, have a ministry, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow. We're going to talk about the various ways that we minister to the adaptive nature of being a male or female. But we got to set the base that it's all about man. Therefore, what we try to do, this is what we try to do. The reason why we kind of bump and miss it is because we're trying to minister to the needs in the name of a man. And we're thinking that I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. So is he. So if I'm a man and she's a man, there's a common ground of needs that both of us have that need to be met as men. Uh-oh, look out. You know what we try to do? We try to eat the icing before we make the cake. We try to minister to the male and female needs before we have come into the realization of the needs of the man. You want to talk to us about the needs?
There's a theory that most of